Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us at Microsoft Ignite 2020 for our session, Ask the Expert Transparency to Global Food Supply Chains. We're glad to have you here. And first, we're going to go through a few things on how to engage with the experts and a little bit of our Microsoft Code of Conduct. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So how to engage with the experts? Please use the chat to ask any questions. Questions will appear to all attendees once approved by a moderator. If you have a favorite question, please upvote that, and that way we can then ask that question. Experts will then answer the questions verbally or over chat, determined by our moderator, and then our experts will provide resources once the session concludes to learn more. For our etiquette for the session, this session may be recorded. Please help our moderators out by not spamming the post with inappropriate comments or anything that's not relegated to the subject at hand, and please adhere to our Microsoft Code of Conduct. So our first, so now we'll go to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. Please go ahead and review this briefly, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the content. So here are our experts here to join us today for this session. First off, we have Annie Parker, who will be helping moderate this session. She is the Global Lead Equity and Inclusion person at Microsoft for Startups program. Then we have Jamila Gordon, who's the CEO and founder of LumaChain. So Jamila, please go ahead and let us know a little bit more about LumaChain and everything that goes along with the vision for LumaChain. And yeah. Pleasure to meet you and welcome to the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Microsoft, for inviting me to this amazing event. LumaChain's purpose is that we fix broken links in the global supply chain. We track and trace the provenance and conditions of the food as it moves through the supply chain. We also help improve food safety, workers' safety, productivity in the food manufacturing plants. We ensure that we use technologies that allow the workers are trained well, they're safe, and they have safe working environments.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that information. So next question that I have for you is, what is LumaChains vision going forward for, the global food supply chain?
LumaChains vision is a world with amazing food supply chains. And I will break that into 4 categories. The first one is consumers. We as consumers, we want to know everything about the food we eat and answer questions like, is my food safe? Where did it come from? What is its origin? What is its quality? And is it ethically and sustainably produced? We as consumers want to answer those questions. As processors and retailers, we want to know everything that's happening in our manufacturing plants. Things like, my processes efficient and safe? Do we have safe working environments? Am I producing consistently good quality food? Are my workers trained well and know how to carry on their job and productive? In terms of the farmer or the producer, they want to get feedback from the consumers. What do they think about the food I produced? They want to know what is selling well, what do the consumers love, and then focus on producing more of that. And finally, is the vision for the world. It's no food wastage. Our vision for LumaChain is to eliminate or dramatically minimize the food wastage. That we know that the food is ethically and sustainably produced. We create transparency everywhere, complete transparency in everything we eat. So that's our vision, from a consumer, from a processor, from producer all the way to the entire world.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much for that answer. Can you elaborate on how you achieve that vision, and kind of elaborate a little bit more on what exactly do you do?
So LumaChain is a SaaS solution, software as a service, where we link the broken links in the supply chain. And to do that, our SaaS solution will get data from existing systems, from different actors in the supply chain, whether it's from the producer, the processor, to the retailer, to the transporter, the warehouse, all the way end to end. We also get data from IoT devices, whether when the product is either stationary in a freezer or a chiller, or whether it's transit. We want to know the conditions like temperature. Is the temperature adhered to what it meant to be? Is it shock, things like shock? Has the product been fallen and opened? We look at things like humidity, location, chain of custody, who had it, for how long and why. We also get data from AI, our computer vision and artificial intelligence. We have cameras installed in our processing plants, in the farms, in everywhere, to collect the data about the products and put that all into LumaChain. And then we have thin layer of blockchain that stores that data in a real-time trusted way. So those are the technologies we use and how we create that end-to-end visibility and transparency in the food supply chain.
Great. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the technologies in a little bit more depth of regarding blockchain and how the data, I guess, is stored and things like that? I think our attendees would love to know a little bit more about that.
Thank you. We use Azure end-to-end. So we have computer vision. And that computer vision models are running on site using Azure Edge devices. The Edge devices we use today, the old ones were 1 GPU, that we've got the latest thanks to the Microsoft team. So we're using 2 GPU Edge devices. All our data and videos are processed on site. We then have the data, processed data going into the Azure cloud. We also have IoT devices writing data back to the Azure IoT hub and back to our Azure cloud. And behind that, we have Ethereum blockchain as well, and that is also Microsoft blockchain. And that's, yeah, but that's what we use.
Great, great. That's awesome. So you said you were using Microsoft blockchain. How has that made your processes a little bit easier, or how has it streamlined your processes going forward for LumaChain?
Tom, it created that pure trust because you have a number of different organizations and sharing data, and that data is stored Microsoft blockchain. And what it means is, and Microsoft Cloud, and what it means is that trusted partner is behind us, behind LumaChain. That partnership, global partnership we have, and local partnership in Australia we have with Microsoft, has allowed us, our enterprise customers, to know their data is safe. And it's with Microsoft, whether it's in the cloud or inside the blockchain.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I know you have a very cool, unique story. I would hope that maybe you can share with our attendees a little bit more about your background and things that you've gone through in order to get to where you are right now. That'd be awesome to hear.
Thank you. As a very young woman, I was born in Somalia and had a fabulous family. My mother had 16 children, which was quite a big family. And unfortunately, we had a civil war in in Somalia that allowed, my father tried to get all of us out. At the end, 14 got out. He acted early, and thank God he did, because we wouldn't have been safe. We scattered around the world as refugees. I have families all over the world, in the UK. In fact, I was talking to my sister last night in Denmark. Yes, and I came to Australia at the age of 18. My goal first was to learn English. It was in Sydney, and I went to TAFE. And after English, I did a little bit of accounting in TAFE, and then discovered that universities exist. And I was lucky enough to be accepted in La Trobe University in Victoria, in Australia. And I did an IT degree, which allowed me, when I finished, to be a software developer. And I came back to Sydney. I was a great software developer and moved up, worked for IBM many years, and then became Qantas Chief Information Officer, responsible for all of their IT end to end. And after that, I've decided I've done another CIO role, one of the biggest construction companies in Australia, CIMIC. And after that, I've decided to open LumaChain. That's why we're here.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool to hear. So one question that I had for you is what's the most exciting thing about founding your own startup? I mean, that's got to be really exciting in the grand scheme of things, and and being able to have your own touch on things. So yeah, please give us a little bit more information about what is the most exciting thing about founding your own startup.
Finding your own startup is super exciting. And I know that because I've done both. I've done corporate big jobs, and now I've got my own startup. You control your own destiny. You move the speed you want. I love to move very fast. And it allows you to work with most amazing people. You partner with the partners you want. We're lucky to be a partner of Microsoft. We have an awesome, amazing team, and we move a fantastic speed, and we get things done.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for that. So I have a few questions here from some of the attendees that I'll go ahead and share with you. You already touched a little bit on this, but an attendee asking, can you talk a little bit about the blockchain that you're using? And you already elaborated on that. But the main question, is it permissioned or permissionless? And how will you get all of the suppliers involved to adopt LumaChain?
I get that question a lot. The enterprise customers, when we work as a startup who have got also a strong enterprise background, my colleague, Tony White, who started LumaChain with me, Tony and I worked at Qantas Airways together. I was the CIO, he was head of supply chain. So when we go in front of our enterprise customers, we have that trusted background of that we know how enterprise systems work. And behind that, to have Microsoft partnership, immediately we win the trust and respect of the enterprise customers. So I think if we decided to build our own blockchain, if we decided to choose other blockchains, I think that trust might not have been there. It's just the combination of who we are and the combination of who we partnered with, and that using their technology on top of our purpose-built SaaS solution, it allowed us to really attract amazing customers. And that's what our blockchain is based. I mean, as you know, Microsoft Azure Cloud and the blockchain is completely available to any customers. We're not unique to that, but what's unique to us is how we use it, which is our IP, and how we deliver that to our customers.
Great, great. So another question from an attendee. What kind of resources and skills does your team require to build the concept at early stage? And then a follow-up on that is, what were the key challenges your team faced to bring the concept into an actual platform?
So if I can focus on the first one, the team we have well, the team, by the way, the team we're looking for and still looking for, but we have a good chunk of them. We have people with mid and supply chain background. We were looking for more. We have a technology front end is built AngularJS, .NET, .NET Core, C#. We are obviously Azure Cloud, Azure Edge devices. So we're looking for people of those combinations. And most importantly, we're really looking for talented artificial intelligence and computer vision experts, people who have done computer vision for the purpose of deep learning and object tracking. That is really core to us. Blockchain and Azure Cloud, we buy that as a service. We're very lucky to have partners like Microsoft to buy that straight from the cloud. Even at the edge devices, we are looking for people who have got experience on computer vision and edge devices. But most of the work has really been we buy it as a service straight from Microsoft Cloud.
Great, thank you for that explanation there. And I'll go ahead and go to another question from attendee. We're getting a lot of good action here. So how is the supply chain adapting to take more advantage of food waste?
No one likes food waste, and definitely the producers don't like it, the processors don't like it, the supermarkets. So the key is to, where possible, to actually eliminate it completely. And we've been lucky enough using fabulous technologies to help both that end-to-end, creating that visibility, knowing where the products are in any given time, knowing the conditions they're in, people in that supply chain to proactively take actions because they're no longer blind. They can take actions to say, okay, well, I have let's say a truck or a ship from Australia to the US, and the conditions might not be right, so they can take actions. They can get real-time data to say, by the way, the alarms, the temperature alarms you set might be coming to see issues, and then they can take some actions to address those issues early to minimize wastage. So creating that feasibility allows to minimize or sometimes even to completely eliminate food wastage.
Great, great. And this is a very common question that I think everybody is on the top of everybody's mind right now, you know, with the whole pandemic happening across globally. What are some of the main challenges that COVID-19 has brought to the global food supply chain?
If I can, well, first, everything. I mean, I can speak for my for LumaChain first. It slowed everything down. It's like allowed us to take a checkpoint. From the food supply chains we work, it's really amazing. People are focused on their employees. They're focused on helping them, giving them, you know, I mean, for us, we're very focused on our employees from during the COVID-19. We have to make sure everyone is safe. We have to make sure everyone is, you know, they're not alone. I mean, that from if you look at the small IT team I have, they you know, range from young people who live on their own to big families, every aspect, and you have to make sure everyone is safe. So I think that is COVID-19 has made sure it put really more focus for employees to really put huge focus, even more than before, on the employees. For me, I know where everyone is every day. I speak to everyone every day. I make sure, and that from a big organization, if I can look at my time in Qantas as a big organization by the CEO doing it, it's cascades down. You know, every leader in your organization will do the same. That everyone is safe, everyone is okay, I think it's been a hard time for the employees and for everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I can imagine, you know, how it can affect everybody in a holistic sense. Another great follow-up to you addressing the food waste issue. Do you see yourself playing a role in the redistribution of any of the food waste?
No, we are focused on that food safety and that the food is ethically and sustainably produced. So that is focus for us, that the food is safe and we know where it's come from, the origin, we know the conditions it's been, all the way to the consumer, and answer all those questions we talked about from a consumer perspective. And knowing also the food is actually ethically and sustainably produced.
Great, great. Are there any current examples of companies or suppliers using LumaChain today? And if yes, what has been top efficiencies or gains using LumaChain?
Yes, we have customers using, but for anyone else who worked with enterprise customers, you will know enterprise like confidentiality, this confidentiality sign, so I can't talk about who they are. But what I can tell you, the efficiencies, what I talked about at the end, consumer is what everyone cares about. Consumers to know who produced my food, where was it produced? Those are key drivers. The other one is it produced ethically and sustainably? To answer the questions for consumers, where did it come from? Is it safe for me to eat it? What is the quality?
Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you for elaborating on that as well. Another question from an attendee here that we have is, do you track packaging at all? And does LumaChain have any interest in zero waste supply chains in regards to packaging?
We track the actual food, whether it's in a package or moving through inside the processing plant. So it's that end-to-end track and trace, knowing where was it produced, where is it now, what are the conditions it's at this moment, and as it travels forward to its to the final destination, answering all of those questions: who had it, how long, why, and having our IoT devices writing straight to the blockchain using IoT, Azure IoT Hub.
Great, great. So I'll go to one more question from an attendee here. I think it's a good one. How do you engage with farmers to get them to share their production practices?
So we work with, let me go back first to Australia. In Australia, we work with beef. That's our first food product we're tackling. And for beef, in Australia, all our animals, all our cattle is tagged. It's got an ear tag, unique ear tag. And what that means is animal is tagged and is managed by an organization called MLA, Meat and Livestock Australia. And MLA ensures that animal is everything is captured in that RFID tag. Its history, its veterinary certificates, everything will be in the transit, hand exchange, who bought it, when did they buy it, and all that data is stored in MLA database. So we capture that data and move it forward. So that's how we get our origin of where the animal came from. We get it that way through the technology.
Great. And as a follow-up question here for that one, is there any mechanism by which the food can be tagged with? And if the product is GMO, pesticide used to grow the food, those types of questions?
So all of that data is actually captured inside that RFID tag, the NLIS. So what's the animal fed? Is it grass fed? Is it grain fed? If it was grain fed, how many days? How long? Is it 120, 100 days? What were the, how many times did they go to the vet? What were the issues? So all of that data and that history is captured inside that RFID tag on the animal's ear and stored in a database.
That's great. That's great. So one more question, and I know we're almost running out of time here, but I think this is a good question. Maybe it's something that can pick your brain a little bit. Is there any good resource that you can recommend on the integration of blockchain and food supply chains?
The integration, so the integration we've done from our side, it's, as I said earlier, it's unique to us. It's the way we wanted to do it with the help of our partner, Microsoft. If you are looking for your own integration, I think there's a lot of opportunities to look at what technologies are out there first and what integrations are you looking at exactly. How much data do you want to store? Mm-hmm. You need, I think from our side, we had to spend a lot of time to understand what is actually the data. Why do we want blockchain? Number one. And if the answer is compelling and say, yes, we want blockchain because there's data that we want not to be ever disputed. If we say the temperature when the ship was in New Zealand on its way to US, the temperature of the product was this much. If you don't want no one to dispute that, we want to put it into blockchain. And also the purpose for this, the machine writing, the IoT device, through the hub, IoT hub, writing to the blockchain. So that's why we wanted it, that to create that data that no one can dispute. So you have to first do your homework. Why do you need blockchain? Is it actually, do you really even need it? And if the answer is no, use the cloud. If the answer is yes, then work through what data am I going to store?
That's great. Okay. Final question that I have for you for today is, what does the future look like for LumaChain?
We are aiming our future, and that's our big dream, to be listed in, to be a Decacon and listed in NASDAQ, and make the world a better place as well.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time today, Jamila. You know, it was great talking to you and being able to answer some of the questions from the attendees, and really getting to know you and what LumaChain does and how it's actually helping global supply food chains and all the richness that it brings. To finalize the session, for all the attendees, please go to our resources and call to action. Microsoft for Startups, LumaChain is part of the Microsoft for Startups program. You can find us at startups.microsoft.com to find out more information about this startups program. Please go to lumachain.io to learn more about LumaChain. We also want to engage or have attendees engage in continued learning at Microsoft Learn, so docs.microsoft.com/UN-US/learn, and then please follow both LumaChain and Microsoft for Startups at LumaChain and then at MSFT for Startups. And thank you guys for attending this session, and hope you learned a lot about LumaChain and global supply of food chains. And thank you again, Jamila.
Pleasure.
Have a great rest of your Ignite, everybody.